Most people don't listen to understand, they listen to reply. That may sound familiar to you because it's actually habit number 5 out of Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. But it's so relevant, and our relationships demand that we listen and hear and actually understand what people are going through, especially our marriages. But God is our first example and our first model of actually hearing us. Let me read a couple of passages to you. This is Psalm 116, verses 1 through 2. I love the Lord because he heard my voice. Interesting. We love him because he hears us. Now, obviously, we know we love him because he first loved us, but in context of relationship and hearing, check this out. I love the Lord for he heard my voice. He heard my cry for mercy. Because he turned his ear to me, I will call on him as long as I live. So the psalmist's response was, I'll turn my heart to the Lord. I will trust the Lord because he heard me. So point number 1, hearing people, listening develops trust. Now check this out. This is in 1 John 5:14. This is the confidence we have in approaching God, that if we ask anything according to his will, he will hear us. So Psalm 116, 1 and 2, we saw that listening and hearing develops trust. But in this we see listening and hearing develops confidence. Now if you look up this word in the Greek, confidence, it's the Greek word parisia. Fun to say. But what it means is openness or boldness. In fact, most times that it's translated in Scripture, that's what it's saying, openly, boldly. It's actually unreserved communication, no concealment. So in other words, you get to say exactly what you want to say. So what the author is here is saying is that because God hears us, we trust him. And because God hears us, we have confidence in him, or we have open dialogue and communication. So if in your marriage, it's, your communication is struggling, you don't feel like there's trust from your spouse, maybe you're not hearing them. Maybe you're not a good listener. Maybe you always try to fix everything when they speak to you. Maybe you don't actually understand what they're going through. And maybe it's not just your marriage. Maybe it's with your kids or your, at work or whatever, just with your friends. But remember this, hearing people, actually understanding, empathizing with them, putting yourself in their shoes, trying to really see where they're coming from, where you really feel from them. I had an interesting experience recently. I had a disagreement with someone at my kid's school, and we were communicating, and we just weren't really getting anywhere. And I stopped at one point and I said, hey man, listen, let me ask you a question. We might disagree, but do you understand where I'm coming from? Like, can you see it from my perspective? And this guy goes, no. And it's like, well, really? You can't even take the time to hear it and think about it from my perspective. And it was so frustrating. And it just was a lesson to make sure you hear. Even if you disagree with someone, try to understand where they're coming from and hear them. There's a human connection that we have beyond being right or proving our point. And even in these passages we see God hears us. He takes the time to listen to us. And with the psalmist and with John, we see that when God hears us, it develops trust and confidence. And once again, that confidence is open dialogue and open communication. So, I pray that you take these tips and you put them into your life and into your relationships, and you see how they can help you with your children, your coworkers, especially your spouse, to create that open dialogue, to be a safe person, to let people come to you. Because if you want to invest in your relationships, listening and hearing that person is such a great way. It produces trust and confidence. I hope that helps you. You guys have a great day.